produced KV, a series of heavy tanks produced during World War II in the Soviet Union, named after the then People's Commissar of Defense of the USSR, Kliment Voroshilov. At the time of the German attack on the Soviet Union, they were the only mass-produced heavy tanks in the world. After rather poor experiences with the multi-turret T-35 tank, Soviet designers began working on the next model of heavy tank. One of the main projects was the SMK, in which the number of turrets was reduced from 5 to 2. 2 prototypes were ordered, but even before their creation, it was decided to build one of them with a single turret but with thicker armor. The newly created single-turret tank was the first prototype of the KV. After the outbreak of the Winter War, the SMK, KV, and T-100 were sent to the Finnish-Soviet front at the Karelian Isthmus to conduct tests under combat conditions. They fought as part of the 20th Independent Heavy Tank Battalion, 20.SBCZC. On December 17, 1939, during the breakthrough of the Mannerheim Line fortifications, the thick armor of the KV proved to be highly resistant to Finnish anti-tank weapons, and the KV demonstrated its superiority over the other designs. Consequently, by a decision of the Defense Committee of the USSR's Revolutionary Committee on December 19, 1939, it was adopted into the armament of the Red Army and put into production, in the KV-1 version, armed with a 76.2 mm gun, and KV-2 version, armed with a 152 mm howitzer. The thick armor of the KV tank made it practically indestructible by the anti-tank guns of the time, but this tank had many design flaws. It was very slow and not very maneuverable, and it was armed with the same gun as medium tanks. However, the biggest problem was the high unreliability of these tanks. More units were lost due to failures than in combat. For example, the gearbox was so poorly designed and manufactured that drivers were forced to use hammers to change gears. At the time of the invasion of the Soviet Union, the Red Army was equipped with 639 KV-1 tanks. At that time, no German tank or anti-tank gun could penetrate the thick armor of the KV. Their destruction required the assistance of aviation or artillery. Only the famous German 88 mm gun was capable of penetrating the thick armor of this tank. Due to the high combat value, it was decided to continue the production of the KV series. Standardization of parts was introduced, and the KV now had the same engine, gun, and gearbox as the T-34. During the course of the war, the armor of the KV was reinforced as the effectiveness of German anti-tank weapons increased. The new variant of the tank was named KV-1M 1942, KV-1C. It was very well armored, but even slower and more difficult to maneuver than its predecessor. The next version, KV-1S, was significantly faster. The last version of KV was a short series KV-85, which used the hull of KV-1S, with a turret designed for the IS-1 tank, which had not yet gone into production, and the D5T gun, the same one used by the T-34-85. The high demand for this cannon slowed down the production of KV-85, and the production of the whole series was completed in 1944 after the IS-2 went into mass production.